So I think we have to come here and go to Resolve. Ace Attorney Resolve. And I got an achievement right away. Amazing. By the way, I gave everyone funny outfits because I can.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital.
I guess her dad died.
You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court.
We're gonna be in ruin, aren't we? We're gonna be living in squalor.
Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you.
My
life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
I find myself faced with another awful crime. Her again.
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life.
Wait, this is...
As a lawyer.
Oh, no, she died.
So please,
good.
I ask for your guidance.
This is Kazuma's.
Kazuma-sama.
Yeah, this is Kazuma's grave. Sorry, I can't read kanji. I'm dumb. The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. August 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court of the Judicature. Defendant's Antechamber number 3. Here I am again after 9 months. Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Our dad is alive! I was reading the room wrong. Yay! Ah, good, you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, counsel. But you look as light as a sheet, and those white eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous, I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I had never been born. Damn. What a thing to say to your dad. Goodness. Not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Damn, kid. Sorry I had sex. Damn, Jesus. Damn. Eugene Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who earlier in his life traveled to Great Britain. Britain? To Great Britain? To study... This is going well. Twitch is dying. I'm dying. Let's go. To study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me? You're so cute! Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer today? Oh, yes, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication, the whole thing. Dei Membami. Born the same year as I and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the university research laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh my, it's just that you look so gallant and dashing. Gay? Gay rights? In my ace? Gays in my ace? Sorry. And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course. I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray. It's just that— No! What are you doing? What's going on? Wait. That varsity uniform! That varsity cap! That varsity cape! That varsity badge! Look at you! You look like— although you look for all the world in just like a student of Imperial Yumei University, a male student. Too late, you're gay now. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see, it was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into this, because she's a girl. My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door. So that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato, you'd go to such length for me? Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Rei. It's so strange though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman... What a wretched reason! I mean, why shouldn't you be a lawyer in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ray? Please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just you really do look dashing. Do I look dashing and smashing though? Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. My daughter is gay. Ha ha ha. Sure, Dad, sure. I am pleased, I think. It served an element to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped, and now you're trembling ever so slightly. Susato, you do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder! Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence. Which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. And a best friend. If you do murder, we get you out of murder. Jail. That means so much to me, Susato. Defendant! Counsel! Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Oh! Stand aside! I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. Well, Susato, you've certainly surprised your father. Going to such length to be admitted into the courtroom with no priors. She has plenty of experience. Excuse you. There was simply no other way. That's all there's to it. But father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming Ray doesn't know how it came to this. Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out no other lawyer would agree to take on our case. I didn't want to burden her with that. And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Because of who the victim was? She had it coming. Goose Lady had it coming. Good thing she got murdered. We should be making a move now too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, Father. I am Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law into a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. It is now 9 AM. The court is now in session to hear the trial of Rei Membami.
The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. Ready! Yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Ryutaro Naruhodo! Is that correct? Sorry? Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put you down with the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel? Yes, that's right, that's me. Yes, I am Ryutaro. He who was vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. It seems Ryutaro may need time to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. And those wild, white eyes aren't doing any favors either. Just relax and listen. Naruhodo?
A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be?
You may be thinking of Ryonosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. This is, his cousin! That's right, Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, but it was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Any of them!
Tut tut tut. What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy.
How dare you! Susato is every bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. She said it. I won't have you making fun of her. Her? Please be careful, Rei.
What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to this challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not.
I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, his eyes are... wants to flit? What does that mean? The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the future of our empire.
Just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet, for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock. Dear me.
Perhaps it would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense. To determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. I know. I'm not reading this, we know this. Why would he even be telling me this? I was here. I brought in the evidence for Naruhodo. I know it's a new game, they have to give the tutorial again, yada yada. Why do you buy a game called Resolve Number 2 and expect that it's not a sequel? Alright, it's time to prove myself. Yes, Your Excellency, but please do make them simple. Very well. Start with... You. You will state the name of the victim. Yeah, that is simple. I couldn't forget that even if I tried. I forgot. Actually, I did. I don't remember her name. What's the matter? Now you're gonna tell me how to go to the court files. Yeah, I know. Okay, E. Yeah, I know. That's where the information will be. Okay, her name is Consmagi Giselle. Giselle Brett. I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case? Giselle. Yes! The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Mr. That's her name now. Giselle Brett. A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our imperial judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Great Empire of Britain. Why then is her name indelibly associated with our own empire's judicial history? Because she got away for murdering a dude. Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. But if it's proof, I know. A killer, Queen Victoria. 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Humane University was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett. Yes, she was a killer. Killer queen... No? Okay. Just a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Great Empire of I'm just gonna say UK. I'm not reading the Great Empire of Britain every time. It was in the midst of a diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John Wilson, was shot dead. Oh, I wonder if Iris knows that her father's dead by now. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotova? Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd be my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter that the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China, instead.
Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of her empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board to a steamship.
And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed!
Only the day before? That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant. Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle. Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Aochi. Yes, his name is Aochi.
As your wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight. On the outskirts of the imperial capital, under a bright blue sky at a scheduled bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers in exchange to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. An injury which proved fatal.
She had it coming.
There, two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire.
Why is she going to the beach? She's about to be deported? Jesus Christ, Japan.
And the accused, Rei Membami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somehow. You know what, bestie? Me too. Me too, bestie. Me too. Both of us. Indeed. That's certainly true. The prosecution summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick out the prosecution counsel on what he said about being alone together. What's the motive? You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement.
Tut, tut, tut! Is the Yoko boy using long-lost words he doesn't fully understand?
I beg your pardon?
No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Mimbami-san, you are a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe.
Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment. I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant. He has a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then?
Oh, well, I was studying under Dr. John Wilson. Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago?
The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true?
Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who killed him.
Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray, be careful of what you're saying.
The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Well, it was clearly a trap all along. How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I must find out more details and something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about being alone together. Mimbami-san. Yes, what is it, Naruhodo-san. I am really starting with my alias Yurutaro Susato. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place. And why you were alone with her. Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett, for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion. That's all.
But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut.
What if there was pizza in the hut?
You and no one else.
There might have been pizza in the hut.
The truth is, there is only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn.
She was a lesbian. Oh.
It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life.
No!
Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. The accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again.
Is she dispatching her to Shanghai? Kindly refrain from conjecture, Consul. The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try to not let him goad you. Oh dear, this is really terrifying. But father's right, we need more information. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the bathing spot. If I may, Prosecutor Ouchie.
What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student? I wonder, could you explain?
Oh, that's not Ouchie. I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot?
Ha! My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused this poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is a curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins.
That's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea?
For old time's sake, I believe.
Sorry?
Miss Brett was to depart to Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at her country's wonderful coast. And the British embassy put an extreme pressure on our government to comply.
But on what grounds would we agree to such a request? Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor! It was the government who granted permission, not I! In any case, it was decided that the dedicated detective on duty...
Was it Hosonaga?
Nothing could go wrong.
But in fact, a murder took place.
I said, don't look at me! It was the young student girl who did it, not I!
No one was proved that yet. I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. Which man? Me? Am I the man? I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and they would have encountered each other on a number of occasions. Seeing the murder of the victim from whom she had such great respect is trying such unreserved liberty. Undeserved. Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can't hardly blame Ray for feelings of anger and resentment. Poor Ray.
So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit. A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
The goose got loose. Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image. As you can clearly see, nowhere within the hut that anyone could... that's the wrong voice.
As you can clearly see, there is nothing within the hut that anyone else could have hidden.
Not even a pizza? Ronnie, stop with the Pizza Hut. The court will accept this photographic evidence as this photographic print as evidence. Photographic. As I understand it, then the victim and the defendant were alone inside the big shuttle at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to this case. We intend to prove the accused appalling's action beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence.
Witnesses? But who?
One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. I assure you, the testimony of those witnesses will leave room for no doubt.
Very well then, Consul. Bring forth your witnesses. Because they didn't have any kind of British embassy or consul in Japan, so China would be the closest place that they would have British stuff. Sorry?
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten that trial 9 months ago, here in this very courthouse. When that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me.
Ah! Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yeah?
This is an insult to the Aochi family name. Will never be forgotten.
You've become conceited with age, Consul. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of a cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died.
The start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, Consul?
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head.
Observe! The ouchie growth! Observe! My ouchie has gotten bigger. You see the seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown. Remember, kids, if you are suffering from hair loss problems, try using a katana. I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something.
I'm afraid I can't really see.
Where is the hope exactly? Ray, no! I said silence. Today I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan.
Well, I will vanquish you.
And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope up top my head. You have been warned. Oh boy. I didn't mean to click that.
The prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand.
The stakes are high on both sides in this trial. It's the trial for hair growth. Let's go. The prosecution and defense each has much to lose. The haircut is hardly comparable to race. I told you.
It's them!
It's my boys! Soseki and Hosonaga.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
The court.
Look at the turtle! Look at the turtle! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial's Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected.
And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital, in fact. Yes. Soon to be sold out. The satirical I Am a Cat. A sensational success by Soseki Natsume. Oh my goodness! Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needn't be in awe of me. I needn't? It's only natural that you'd feel nervous in my presence. But all of you relax. Call me Soseki even.
Yeah.
What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? Tread carefully, Susato. That other fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will all be over before it's begun. Yes, of course I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe.
He's so cute! You do have something on your face, a little friend.
Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. I suppose it's this disguise, isn't it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It's my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have at being at the scene, Soseki-san? Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture on the morning of the incident in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less. At Yume University? After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the Medical Science Department. The professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikotoba? Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or another about 2 former students who'd studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press would never leave me alone. They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. What's that about then? Can I... Ah.
The kitty!
No, but Wakahai is with us. Why is it Wakahai in the photo with you?
Anyway, following my interview with the professor,
The lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coasts. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance, of course.
at which Uterance University immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Breasts to...
Miss Breasts? Permit Miss Breasts. Okay, it's fine.
Permit Miss Brett to go as long as the detective accompanies her.
That detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Thereby, the entire party departed cordially from the seaside, it seems. Wrong voice. I cannot remember the voices that I do. It's kind of amazing, really. That should be a talent in itself. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. Oh, you still have tuberculosis. But fortunately, I am at the peak of my physical fitness at the moment, so... Me too, Westy, me too. I was able to... Guys, does anyone have a tissue? Again. Why am I here again? Oh my! Inspector, you... Well, you do have something on your face now. Ah, how unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father? No, fortunately I had work. Same. I feel you. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that as my assistant today, I was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. Ah, but only if I had. I'd never have seen that awful sight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. Very well, I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret I am. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in disguise. I just managed to catch that crab! Catch that crab! When I suddenly heard a caterwaul cats on the walls from behind me? I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes, yes, yes! That young girl was astride with the Englishwoman, dagger in hand. She stabbed wildly. I saw blood on a blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times. Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses were present. Here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime. What?
Now, if you recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes. That was it. Damning evidence.
What have you there? Counsel, a so-called fountain pen, is it? Correct, Your Excellency. I found out at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears in our dying moments, with our final haunts of strength. The victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify our killer. What?
Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the scene of the crime once more.
Ah, goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah! The owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. R.M. Rei Membami. Ronnie Moontomes. Could have been me, I'm just saying. Could have been me. I could have killed Goose Lady. Could have been me. What's Japan gonna do? Send me to Macau? Actually, they probably send me to Okinawa. The initials of the defendant! This fountain pen will admit it immediately as critical evidence. Why would she have a pen with the initials in Western script even? She could just have kanji on her pen.
So, have I omitted anything? Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside of the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel.
I don't understand. Prosecutor Aoshi of 9 months ago had not this man's voice. Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Naruhodo-san. Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes, me. Is there any other Naruhodo in my courtroom? Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Cousin Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please. Alright, I've seen this countless times as should this last instance. Finding consistencies in the witness testimonies to prove that they are lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real liar would handle a cross-examination. Let's see what I can do. Okay, actually, before we do it, I see that Mikotova has a special sprite that we're not seeing because I have the outfits on. I have saved my game. What do you mean? There we go. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on spell in disguise. No, go back. No, I'm telling you to go back. Look how cute she looks! Oh no, I just have so many thoughts swirling around in my head. That's all I can do to stand here, wide-eyed and mute. Goodness, my dear, you really must try to calm down. But how am I supposed to find an inconsistency in what these two gentlemen are saying? You pressed them. We press. Okay, I know. I've played the game before multiple times. She looks so cute! You look good as a boy. That's all I'm saying.
Hold it!
In that jaunty disguise? Correct. Wait, no! I mean, it wasn't the first time I've worn this swimsuit for a dip in the ocean. It's tried and tested. Do what must be done to keep the English woman under surveillance. Those were my orders that day. And this tried and tested outfit was the answer? Being able to blend flawlessly with the crowd is an important part of the detective's job. I submerged myself in the salty water, leaving only Mr. Turtle floating inconspicuously at the surface. Mr. Turtle loves the water! Oh! But there was no need for you to blend into the background on this assignment, was there? If that made you late arriving on the scene, I think perhaps you had your priorities wrong. Listen, I would also prioritize Mr. Turtle. It's fine. You did great, Hosonaga. Perhaps I shouldn't pursue this line of questioning any further at the moment.
Hold it!
In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could have Piercy Evans.
Yeah! Or the like. Of course, that's just a metaphor. We renowned authors are wont to describing things so. Soseki-san isn't at all like this in England. Anyway, I spun around at the noise and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze. Yes, the beach hut. The area is popular with government ministers. Many have seaside retreats there and for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure erected as a place for people to change and take refuge from the sun. Although the English woman commandeered the hut for herself, which meant that I was forced to change into my swimwear on the sand. I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you. Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach hut at a run. Or, in more literary terms, I decrabbed and beetled off hut-wise. I decrabbed and beetled off. I should write that down. That's how I'm gonna end the streams from now on. I'm gonna decrab and beetle off. That's a... You know, Soseki, you're onto something. You're onto something.
Hold it!
Wait, by the pair you don't mean to say... But how could that be? No, you misunderstand. Obviously. I mean the victim and the defendant, Rei Mimbami-san. Oh, it would have been helpful if you'd have just said that from the outset. Did you see the little star in her hat? It's so cute! If you jump to conclusions, you have to expect to fall flat on your face sometimes.
Dear me, pitting your hopes on such an outside chance. Foolish, very foolish.
It really was an outside chance. I just realized you said something silly.
So, Inspector, why don't you tell the court how exactly you found the aforementioned pair in the hut?
Well, it was a sorry sight. A really grisly scene. I parted the Norin curtain hanging in the doorway and stepped inside only to see the defendant leaning menacingly over the lifeless body of the victim, sprawled on the sand. Well, there goes the tuberculosis again. My glasses very nearly cracked at the ominous sight that met my eyes.
How thoroughly appalling.
He doesn't appear to be lying here. Well, Soseki-san, can you confirm that what Inspector Hosonaga is saying, I wonder?
Ah, you'd like a literary man's opinion? Yes, that young girl was astride the English woman, dagger in hand, and she stabbed wildly.
Hold it!
Stabbed wildly? You actually saw her do it?
Oh, indeed!
The terrible spectre! The terrapin inspector! The bloody torrent! The outer torment! Eee! Every sight and every sound is carved into my melancholy memory. That was my impression, at least. As a future literary sensation. Speak slower, and you'll get it.
Counsel, what on earth was that shrill, effeminate scream?
Shut up. What are you insinuating? I'm as manly as a Japanese man as you. I wonder if I might not interject here, Soseki-san. Something you said is troubling me. That was my impression. Were your words just now, I believe? Oh, he's doing Morse code. He's doing Morse code. Ah, so do you mean to say you're not confident that you really see what you've described? No, I mean, I know what I saw. My ears didn't deceive me when I heard that scream. Hence my eyes didn't deceive me either. I could describe everything I saw vividly. I could publish it all in tomorrow's newspaper serial.
It sounds as though the next installment of I Am a Cat
May take a macabre turn. Have you ever read Junji Ito's manga about his cat? Sometimes there's some very creepy images there. I think this is a fool errand. The more we press your Arthur friend on what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become. Oh dear, how awkward.
Hold it!
She was tackled multiple times? How can you be sure of that? Single wound. Thank you. Very simply, from the blood on the blade. The blood? When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up to the air. Like she just didn't care. Yes, that's right, I saw it too! Oh. And I noted that there was blood on the blade already at that point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived on the scene. Yes, that's right, I saw it too! And the victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand too. All of which means that I can be sure the victim did not die instantly. Yes, right, I saw it too! Maybe a year in London was too much for him. Sounds like he's forgotten to speak Japanese. The logic of your argument is sound, at least. Well, as I said, it is my guiding principle to carry out all of testimonies flawlessly. Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawless. Oh, shots have been fired! Shots have been fired! But that's just my personal opinion, of course. Allegedly. Counsel, you will refrain from mocking the witness. Okay, not this again. No. I know, I just wanted to press everything because I like pressing everything. There we go. With that accusatory cry just swelled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood up here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed.
What's the meaning of that menacing pose, Counsel?
I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. Who? What? Where? When? How? Not you, Suzuki-san. The query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. Me? In your statement just now, you said that the victim has stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said, when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be. What? Get to the point, please, counsel. In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. In other words, Inspector Hosonaga's testimony is clearly flawed. And Soseki-san. Me? You claim to have seen Membami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did. Wildly. But both of you and the inspector confirmed the same point. That there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and... It's quite simple. We know that the murder weapon was only used to stab the victim once. Therefore, there is no way that could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred. True. So true, bestie. You got me. Then what exactly is your contention, counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Yes, Your Excellency. There is only one logical conclusion. That Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body. That can't be! Excellent, Lord Susato. You exploded at them without objection and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically. This doesn't prove that she didn't do it.
Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene, much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steal the show.
You're right, there are certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who only has half a head of hair! Shot fired! Slander! My head is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference. Why not? Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was at that moment that she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, as the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood, because the accused had already stabbed the victim. All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache houster is prone to moments of extravagance. And I'm dead, apparently. I think I am the punching bag right now. I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion. But if she was withdrawing the blade...
Then we are back where we started.
Sorry?
Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is as innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim with a demon's cold-blooded composure too?
Because she's a fucking medical student? Have you considered that she knows medical stuff?
The prosecution demands an explanation. And it had better be good.
Why did they pull out the knife? Ah, yes, going for the jugular. Not right now, Dad. Not right now. That's the problem. That's the problem, Dad. Huh? What does the father mean by that? Just 1 second. Let the court hear your answer then, Consul. Truth is, I don't really know. But I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we won't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was surely so she could save her life. She's a medical student. Even though that's something you should not do because it might lead you to bleed out faster. According to the postmortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's as though she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer.
The point is, being a medical research assistant, Membami-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life.
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem that this is the best we can expect from this young yokel.
Indeed. Is it just me or just suddenly feels much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may? Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion put forward by the yokel defense student, I mean. Slipshod?
An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense.
Excuse you? Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly. It's already not flawlessly. We already fucked up the first time. You should know that, Susato. But she didn't die from blood loss. She died from lung perforation.
Heh, this is why yokels should stay on the farm. Even a quack for someone obscure mountain village wouldn't have such a basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it.
What have you been doing, Ouchie? Well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see. Or pulled a blade out of a wound, so... Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit. Father, is it true that you're telling me? Not in every case. And it wasn't the lung, so I think she was up to something indeed. But he was in the lung. But then, why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled out the knife in full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Brett? I don't know. They never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but... could my friend actually have... Susato! Never doubt the defendant. Pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. However, I must warn you that if you cross-examine fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving my adjudication immediately afterwards. Okay, let's see what he says. And then we'll end the stream. I understand. Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter hand. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard.
Hold it!
You say doing it without thinking could be a problem. Does that mean if you use due care and attention, it would be alright? I wouldn't have thought this needed spelling out really, but... the blade is like a stopper to the wound. Remove it and a serious hemorrhage will occur. In other words, a medic would need to present before any attempt was made to withdraw the blade. Doing it without thinking would be madness. You just can't do it. Oh, well, thank you for such a thorough explanation.
You see, Counsel, when you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath.
Back to the witness testimony, please.
Hold it!
In that case, there's an obvious explanation here. Which is... clearly, the defendant, Rei Membami-san, does not possess an ounce of scent. That's it, everyone. Thank you for coming. Case closed. What do you think about that, Professor Mikotowa? I I'm not sure you should be labeling your best friend as in lacking common sense. Maybe. If he considered that. Well, I thought he would be better than labeling her as a murderer. Your Honor, my client didn't do it. They don't have a brain cell in them. They cannot commit murder. They do not have the brain power.
I don't know young people today. If that's friendship, I don't understand it.
Careful, counsel. A lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing. Oh dear. That recoiled on me rather badly. That's life, I'm afraid. A lesson everyone must learn.
Hold it!
I'm guessing this is just more of the same. I'm wearing male clothes for 1 day, and I start being a fucking misogynist. Take off the clothes. Susato, we're not doing this kind of defense. Susato! Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Perhaps I'm letting my male persona take a hold of me too much. Well, have I managed to convey the basics now?
Hold it! Objection!
I'm not reading because this is just going in circles.
Hold it!
I still don't know. Maybe something on the pen? That's a clan symbol. Oh my god, the sprite is so cute. It isn't a Yume University one. It must belong to some other organization, I suppose, a business of some kind. But that would seem to imply that the pen in fact doesn't belong to Ray. Is there something on the... Oh, it's empty. It's empty. Okay. So I think I got everything from the pen. Can you tell me anything about this? Is the symbol over here somewhere? Yeah, there's the logo over here. Was it still Brett's poison? Because Brett was also working on a poison in the other game. Okay, so she died of being poisoned. Was she trying to, you know, the thing that you usually only, is this called a tracheotomy? When you stab someone in the throat with a straw so they can breathe? But you wouldn't stab someone in the lung, so the air would get in. That doesn't seem... That seems counterproducing. Yeah, because there's a cup by her side. I think she was poisoned. Because it says in the report that our eyes are fucked up. Over here. The time... no. In the notes. Actually, I think there is. I might be presenting it wrong as usual.
Objection!
I'm not. The music stopped. No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What?
Ah, the yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but also is a poor loser. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified?
It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a laboratory at the Imperial Yume University.
Objection!
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case.
But... Prosecutor Auchi, you will let the defense speak. But it's a newspaper article. The court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry. Counsel for the defense? I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion.
Your Excellency!
Yes, of course. Thank you. They would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled a knife from the victim's body is explained in the article, where it says... And we will see about it on next time. I'm so funny. I'm so funny. Playing little cliffhangers. I'm so funny. I'm so funny. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'm very excited to get back to this game. I wanted to get back to it sooner, but I thought it might have been too soon. So I held on a little, but now I'm happy to be back to it. Thank you so much for watching.